We're ready. Welcome to the closing beat, everybody. Happy Thursday. Hi. Oh, and the computer shuts off. There we go. How are we doing today? Hope you're having a good day. I'm. It always looks weird when I wear blue. Forgot about that. Wearing an old Throwback Thursday shirt from way back in the day. We are financial advisors that skip the suit and ties, get right down to the geeky stuff, and just try to help you keep your dough straight. That's all that matters to me. If you think I look silly, that's all right. Got a face for radio. It's all good. As long as I help you and you get your dough straight, I'm cool with that. We talk about the stock market here, just a way for us to give you an update every day of how things are going, as well as update our clients. I try to point out different things that are moving along. But to get more specific, that is going to be tonight, Wine and Wealth. Wine and Wealth. We got our own Jazz Wine of Wealth. Well, that'll be tonight. And last week we covered end-of-year tax strategies and things that you maybe haven't thought of. And tonight we're going to do 2 HSA hacks, tips, secrets, whatever you want to call it. We're going to go through 2 things that a lot of people don't think about with HSAs or didn't even know you could do these things. So we'll cover that tonight. That'll be 8 o'clock. Hope you join us. If you're one of our clients, that'd be great. Speaking of one of our clients, we got a great one here. Mr. Mike S. sends in a box to us, to Mama Jazz and the Candyman. And he says, Merry Christmas. Happy end of the year. I'm not one of your customers who kicked the bucket this year, but I sure did try. Yeah, and we obviously all wish you well. He's getting better day by day there. Audio's weird. What's the problem, Bob? What do we do? What's that sound like? But anyways, he sends a box of fruit. A box of fruit for us to, instead of candy. I love it there. So a little bit different there. My battery dying? No battery on this thing. Let's try something real quick while we're here. See what we can do. We're on the mic tech there. Bring her down. I don't really know. You know what I mean? There's not much that I know how to do there, but it's the same mic, same plugger thing, as far as I can tell. Let's try this. Let's go over here. How does that sound? Sometimes when we change the things, it's a little bit different. Maybe we'll let that stream catch up for just a second, see what happens. But we may have to just deal with scratchy audio today. I can't tell you what might be different. Because there's only one thing. What? Chart page is good? Wow, what the heck? That's weird. But we'll stick with that then if that works. Sounds right? Sounds right? All right. Cool. I don't know what to tell you, man. I do numbers, not computers. Anyways, man, I really appreciate it, Mike. We got pears and oranges and apples. So the Jazz team here, yeah, we're going to skip the candy for a while because it was 20 pounds of fresh oranges, pears, apples, and grapefruit. A total of 32 pieces loaded with immunity-boosting vitamin C. Thank you, Mr. Michael Sills. You're too kind, and we wish you, obviously, a continued speedy recovery there. You're doing great. Doing great. We'll see you tonight at Wine and Wealth, I hope. Hey, look at the market. Let's just get into that because that's what we're here to cover. First of all, I'm going to cover the Dow. Positive most of the day thanks to a couple stocks here, which we happen to own, so I'm excited to see that. United Healthcare, one of our better performers, if you want to say it in like the Dow stocks, is one of our better Dow stocks, but we don't focus on the Dow. Up about 1%. It's also obviously the highest price. Going to have the biggest weighting on the index overall. You look at McDonald's, that's a beast. I mean, McDonald's just continues to move on. We happen to own that. That's been very easy and very painless as far as this uptrend goes. Home Depot, it's been stronger today. It was kind of mixed, but it's a higher price stock, so that move earlier in the morning held the Dow up higher on the day, so not bad there. And Cisco, I don't know, Cisco seems to be waking up. We've owned it for a while, and this last couple months it hasn't done much, but that gap down from earnings just immediately erased, so I'm feeling pretty good about that one, actually. So we'll see. I just thought it kind of held up nicely today, given what happened in the market as a whole. Now, I'll tell you what's not holding up nicely is Nike. Boy, it will not go up with the market. So Look what happens when we have a move down, right? So not participating on one side, what happens when we flip the other way? And I could say the same thing for Verizon, tempting at hitting a new low here or teasing you about hitting a new low. Incredibly weak. Actually, everything in this category, AT&T, Comcast, Charter, and all that, very weak. That was one of the weaker ones in the Dow. I want to point out Intel also giving back all of its gap from the other day when they said they were going to spin off Mobileye. That's all since been erased. We're back to scratch there. So what started off as a nice move is now sort of faded. I'll point out Apple just because we're going to talk about it at some point. You hit new highs today. That one continues to move higher with no real news. I mean, little pockets of news of what they may have said, what they didn't say, and who they called and said supply was good or bad or whatever. Ultimately, we're just moving higher there. And Disney, back to the 20-period moving average. Notice that stopped right there. There's your little resistance area in the short term. So I'm done with that trade as of the other day, and that's the reason why, right? It doesn't mean that it's going to go lower from here. It means that's the first pocket where you tend to pause. People that believe in the 20-period moving average, they believe in retracements as a resistance zone, they're going to respond that way. And I thought, well, I get ahead of that and just not have to deal with it. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I wonder what it sounds like if we go like this. No, we'll go here. So I don't know if it's going to sound good or not, but I'm talking to you over here. Applebee's. You an Applebee's guy?
Yeah, half price apps, baby.
Okay, half price apps. Late night, right? So did you know what they're doing now with the boneless chicken wings and what were they? The new little bites that they have? Did you hear about this?
No, I don't keep up on Applebee's.
I haven't been to Applebee's and I don't even know how long, but they're going to start dipping the boneless wings in either Cheetos or hot Cheetos.
I like it.
So you can now get boneless wings and something else, like French fries or something, dipped in hot Cheetos.
I like it.
You know, those kids are about the hot Cheetos, right?
Yeah. I like it.
I'm sorry, that was a sidetrack there. I thought of it, and I'm like, oh man. So what do you think? Like hot Cheetos? I actually think I would try it. We got to do this one here. Sorry. I actually think I would try it, but I just point that out. Interesting. But Taco Bell did something similar to that as well. Doritos Locos Tacos. Yeah, there you go. All right, let's move on to a screen where you can hear and see stuff. You got the S&P closed near the lows of the day. Not a good sign. Likely going to see a little bit of a pullback in here. However, there's a big caveat, and that is the fanciest word I will ever use, that tomorrow, inflation numbers. Did it sound good with me and you there? Okay. So tomorrow's the inflation numbers. Cody, do you wanna place a bet?
Yeah, let's place a bet. But I'm curious as to where you were at.
All right. What do we think? So inflation higher, lower, or flat going into tomorrow? The announcement comes out 8:30. I'm gonna go higher.
Wow. I didn't think you were going to go higher. I really didn't think you were going to go higher. I was going to say flat.
I feel like it should be flat, but I read something somewhere where Biden gave a hint today that maybe it was going to be higher. I don't know if that was just him saying something, and when you garble the words together, we think that that's a hint. But I'm going to go with that.
Okay, so we got a bet.
You want to bet the 7?
Is it now up to 14?
It would be up to $14.
It's getting expensive.
Yep.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I'll take the 7.
$7 on the bet there. We'll see what happens there. But that's the warning for tomorrow. So that was a fun way to just basically say, we don't know, right? If inflation comes in higher, even just slightly higher, you likely see people go, all right, fine, I'm willing to let this tick back. We had a great run up to the highs here. A small pullback would be fine. I really don't know what the numbers are going to be, so we'll see how that happens going forward. Hormel. So Hormel higher on the day. Big spike here. They actually saw a lot of their divisions do quite well there. And the Genio Turkey brand, I read this earlier, was up like 40%. You know Genio Turkey? I can picture it, but I've never bought it. Apparently killed it. One of their brands there. They saw sales $11.7 billion, which was just slightly under expectations. Earnings beat expectations there for Hormel. So that was one that stands out in the S&P. You got Western Union. Funny. So it's up 10% since getting the note that it was going to be booted from the S&P 500. I talked about this earlier in the week, but stocks tend to do all right when they find out they're going to get booted out of an index there, and this is one great example of that. Twitter also just a touch higher on the day, 1.6% there. I guess the big thing is you're going to be able to tip people now with Dogecoin if you decide to, and Silver Lake Partners bought $100 million worth of shares on this most recent dip, so they believe in it. Southwest Airlines moving lower there. Price targets were lowered on this today, but not under the price of the stock. So, for example, Susquehanna was at 56. They just went to 52, right? If you look at Raymond James, they were at 62. They went to 60. So, not a bearish thing. They all still say it's a buy or an outperform. They just lowered their price targets a little bit over the next 12 months. And I think it's probably safe. Shave a few dollars off just in case the virus and things get to be a little bit crazy. Charter hits new lows. Now, this is one that's getting a little extended, right? You know, I like those extended plays. So, if you look at it, well, the reason it fell, Morgan Stanley downgraded, I believe, price target somewhere around or at 740. So they just put their price target at 740 here. So a little bit of weakness there. But you look at this, and my thought was, okay, cool. Is there something I can do with this? Would this be a new trade idea for a short-term fund type play? So I look at it and I say, okay, well, it's fallen over 10% in just 4 days. Let's try it. Let's see. So I'm going to go over to our little search tool here because Charlie was tinkering with it. Let's see if it works better now. So I want to go less than. We fixed that. That's better. Negative 10% in 4 days. How often does that happen? I can't imagine it happens often. Look back 20 years because we can. And let that sucker run for a second. And it worked. Okay. So over here on the right on our little research tool, return to total, it's fallen 10% or greater than that. Over the span of 4 days, 5 total times. Yep, so there's only 5 data points here. To the left, you can see the last times that happened, March 17th, 2020. And I'm just going to try this real quick because now our sort feature works. Okay, cool. So March 2020 fell 16% in 4 days, 14%, 15%, 10%. So that's basically double digits in 4 days. Doesn't happen very often. So not a lot of data to go on. Previously, the stock, really it's a mix. There was nothing to glean from that. Over the next 4 days, we lost another 3%. We lost 9%. We gained 6. We gained 2. We lost 10. So if you look at that, average loss is 2.75%. Median loss, 2.87%. And of course, it was only positive 2 out of the 5 times, gives you 40% positivity rate. What's that tell you? Right? A quick glance. It's very limited data, so I'm not saying this is the best source of having like lots of data points. All right, fine. But it tells you that there may be more to go on Charter. So when I look at that, I go, all right, I was kind of interested. Another down day, I might be interested. You know what I mean? So using that research tool might keep you out of a trade or whatever. And that's not like a sales pitch or anything, but that was a real world example of what I was doing. It was the difference between me saying, yes, I started a position and I'm looking for a short-term bounce, or no, I'm going to hold out. Let's see. Maybe another weak day, bad inflation numbers come out or higher inflation numbers come out. Maybe that helps push this down. And we know that this sub-industry has been really weak overall. So there's no real hurry on that one. Anyways, just a fun way to explain it. JB Hunt happens to be a stock that we own, sitting at all-time highs there. I just thought that's looking strong, right? It didn't pull back with the market, refuses to almost pull back, sitting at highs, waiting to break out, and I hope it does. If we go back to the Dow, right? You got a leader? Yeah. What do we got over there?
Your top 5 are Matthew, Eric, Caitlin, David, and Greg. Feels the end of the year now. Matthew's got himself a pretty good guess, but yep, that's your top 5 for super duper guess the Dow.
Well, we got a lot of people that played, right? Because those are close.
We got a lot of people that played.
Okay. All right. Yeah, those guesses are pretty close. That tells me there's a lot of people in there. Normally they're spread apart a little bit. All right. Got it. And so this is the super duper guess the Dow, sponsored by my daughter's jewelry making company there. Her description of her thing is down below. You don't have to buy anything if you don't want to, but at least check it out, see what's going on there. She was ecstatic to get a few orders, thinking like, where'd these people come from? It's just on Etsy. She makes stuff. So anyways, first place gets $500, second place $250, and third place gets $100 for super duper guess the Dow. And good luck to you guys. We'll see not very long to go. I mean, Christmas will be here before you know it. Moving on. What do we got? Yeah, that's pretty much all I got there. Let's look at. I want to point out real quick, if I could, eBay. Talked about that one. I closed that position today. So I talked about it yesterday. I felt like I should have closed it. It didn't bounce with the market. It hasn't bounced. It was an extended play that you can think of it as like a time stop, right? I expected it to bounce. I had a bunch of other positions, as I've shared with you guys, that did bounce. I look at eBay and go, what's your problem? If you haven't bounced, everything else did its thing. So I was a little edgy on that one. I got 42% of the total premium, and I said, that's enough. I don't want to risk getting stuck with this position. And so that $60 put that I'd sold, it is gone. Obviously, I could have afforded more of a downturn, but I had a good profit in a short amount of time. And I said, you didn't do what I thought you were going to do, so I'm going to get out and just be happy with that. I am left with just 2 positions from the most recent decline here, ATVI and PayPal. Those are the 2. They're going just fine. ATVI could do better, but that's it. Those are the last of those 2. I want to bring that up because some of you wanted to, obviously, it's not fair to talk about something and then not follow up with it. If it goes great, all right. If it goes poorly, you got to follow up with that. New highs for the day. You got 23 new highs, 1 new low. First up, you got NVR. This is the residential home builder. Pointed out the breakout. It did break out, but now, right, it's getting a little extended, right? This would be one for the research tool as well. You look at it and say, all right, since the breakout on this day right there, because it gapped up, let's say in the last 8 days, it's run up over 10%, right? So you go, hey, anytime NVR runs up over 10% in 8 days, what tends to happen? I bet you find that it pulls back a little bit. I won't waste your time with that, though. So pointing that one out. Hershey's also trying to break out, looking stronger day by day, actually. So that one gets on the list. PKI, very similar. Tried to break out today. No real excitement. I'll give it a pass and say, well, we'll blame it on the market because it was in no mood to be in breakout mode. Maybe that's the case. So something to look at or put on a watch list. Alexandria, real estate company here, breaking out but using up a lot of energy to get to the breakout point. You know how I feel about that. So maybe that pulls back and consolidates a little bit. And that was really it. So I put Aflac on the list to mention as something close to a breakout. So this did not make new 52-week highs today, but it is close. See how right there, draw the line? It is looking like it wants to break out, but it's a watch list type item right now. I think it had a price target. No, who lowered? Goldman Sachs actually says sell rating, $52 price target, so they do not believe it will break out. That came out today. Didn't seem to affect the stock one little bit. All right, stocks in the news. Let's see what we got here. There we go. All right, first up is Amazon. They got to pay $1.2 billion to the Italian government because of what they used to do here in the States, and they stopped doing. They started doing over in Italy. They would favor Amazon sellers over third-party sellers, and Italy says you can't do that. You got to pay $1.2 billion. So it hit the stock by about 1% on the day. Not a huge deal, but it's Amazon. CVS happens to be a stock that we own, breaks out to new highs today, raised their full-year guidance, and they are raising their dividend, and they're also doing a $10 billion buyback. $10 billion, right? So here's these buybacks. Actually, I could list off a few, and I think I will, companies that announced large buybacks today as well. GameStop in the news because they had earnings down 10% on the day. Weaker earnings. Gets a subpoena from the, not a subpoena, a letter of inquiry from the SEC. Nothing exciting. There was no reason for that stock to move higher. There's no reason for it to be worth this much at the moment. And so a little bit of selling there today. Restoration Hardware, I don't know how they do it, man. I mean, I like them. I like it's beautiful stuff. But they reported earnings and better than expected, stronger revenues, kept their guidance the same, but killed it, man. The stock was up 5.5% on the day. I don't know. I've never heard somebody say, I would say like, I like your couch, or that's a cool piece of furniture, and they go, oh, I went to Restoration Hardware. Never heard that. It's not like can't be around those people. Who's buying that stuff? It's crazy. And Sienna breaking out today. That was earnings, and also reporting that they will be doing a $1 billion buyback plan to get ahead of the Build Back Better plan, which would charge them for doing buybacks. Lucid down on the day because they're raising money while they can. Everybody bought that exciting move higher, and they said, you know what? we're going to raise about $2 billion, right? And we're going to sell some equity. We're going to sell some debt. Oh, this is going to be great. We're going to have all kinds of money because all these shareholders are paying a price that they shouldn't pay for the stock right now. So that's what you have going on there. Just saying. Just picking on them a little bit. What else do we have? The changes in the S&P 500 and 400 all coming through here, and tomorrow really no earnings to report. So that is it. I'll take your questions if I can and see what we've got. I love it. And inflation. Well, remember the inflation number too. We know inflation is higher than it's been, but the number that we're betting on is the month-over-month change, right? So this would be the November change in inflation. So we're not, that was the thing. Like, did you think inflation went higher from October to November flat, or did it drop? And there we go. Yeah. What's the take on RH? Should you cash out? I don't know. I don't know what your position is or what's going on there. Or did you buy it just for earnings? Have you bought the dip? Have you been invested for a while? You obviously had the big gap up, but into known resistance area. So it's an opportunity for day traders to try to short it, and for swing traders to say, great, I just bought it. I got a big pop. I'll take my profit. Yeah. Should do a show on options. Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot more of that. We set up a room where we could do some quick like filming and showing and TVs and all that stuff. So yeah, we'll be covering more of that stuff for sure. You want to do Oracle for a swing trade. So not normally the first stock people think of. I get it that it's not a cheaper stock anymore, so the ranges are larger, but a pretty slow moving stock. So you've got to have, number one, the belief that the stock is going to move higher, and I get it. It's pulled back. You take your shot and see what happens. But what's the reward on the way up? You're risking a few bucks to make a few bucks. It's not like it's going to go up $10, right? It's not that volatile of a stock. So because of that, most people don't actually look at Oracle as a swing trade. It's a add more to an investment on a long-term pullback type of thing. I wouldn't do it just because the level of excitement just not there. Thoughts on Plantair? Nothing. Dead money, right? I mean, it's hard to assume it's going to start an uptrend. It would be a pure guess, just random out of nowhere. Is it just going to start moving higher? I don't know. They don't have earnings coming up. I don't know of any headlines or news or pending announcements. So it's a tough one. I did agree that PayPal was oversold. That's why I took a shot at the bottom there and sold the 175 puts the other day. Maybe once it gets over 200, if it gets over 200, that would be a good point to sell. Or if it just goes sideways for another 8 or 9 days, that would do the trick. Yeah. No, I wouldn't short Boeing there. They are in the process. I mean, I get it. I know what's going on there, but it's not that there's a physical problem, right? It's deliveries of the 787. So it'd be different if there was some reason that there was mechanical malfunctions or whatever. That's not the case. So I would not bet on that one there. What part of the year do material stocks take off? Well, the next thing that we're adding in our little research tool, well, there's two things. So we're adding the ability to take data and then look forward any period you want to look. So we're always saying, if it's down in 4 days, what do the next 4 days look like? That's fine. Now we're going to be able to say, if it's down in 4 days, what do the next 30 days look like? What does the next 6 months look like? So investors have something to look at, things like that. And then after that, we're going to actually add in the sector information, right? So we'd be able to say, what's the best performing sector over the next week, and just always have it updating. So a little bit of work to do there. Still, I forget the question, but that's what we're working on. Yep. Visa, that was good. Yeah, that was another one of those plays that we played for the extended bounce. It bounced a little bit more. Obviously looking good coming into known resistance areas, right, where people like to bet on maybe it making a top or like to take their profits. So that's to be expected. You think oil's trend is turning soon? Yeah. I mean, it's a win-win, right? If oil goes higher, which I think it does, obviously if you're invested in it, you do well. If it goes lower, you're kind of happy, right? Because over some amount of time, we'll save some money at the gas pump. But I'm jaded because in Florida we don't have. Do you think we have like really high gas prices? No, it's just kind of. It's not at the point where people are going, "Oh, that's ridiculously high." I know other states are. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh boy. There's a lot of talk now, and you see it over and over again. Stocks that have performed well, Apple would be one. Either A, if you own it, you say, hey, it's only been, if I wait a couple weeks, I can take my profits in the next year and then have a year and 4 months to pay for it. Or B, you're one of those people that says, darn it, I've had Peloton, and it's not going to bounce. I will sell Peloton and take the money to buy something better, take the tax loss. So you have two sides of the coin, and that's going to continue for the rest of the year. So that's why I say there's no reason to buy Peloton or any beaten down stock unless they have blast off news that just comes out of nowhere, which is just a guess, right? Nobody's going to know if that it actually is something that's going to happen. Yep. Oh yeah, we got some tweaks coming. Lots of things coming on there. There's a never-ending list for old Charlie there. How many stocks do we review daily here? I think it depends on the day. So we do 5 for the new highs and lows, 5 for stocks in the news, and then a couple others if there are. A couple stocks for each index there. Just things that I'm already looking at to catch my attention there. EJ, right? Yeah. So you invest 12% in your 401k. Should I just do up to the company match and then invest in the Roth? You can. Yeah. Really depends on your income and also the difference between what you live on now or what your income is now and what you want to spend in retirement. Just talked about that last week in our Wine and Wealth class. If the spread is wide between your current income and your future, oh, hey, that's nice. Someone from Nebraska calling. Yeah, not always nice people there. Unless it's family. No. If the spread between your income now and your what you're going to live on in retirement is wide, now that there's more questions to be asked there. But if you're saying, hey, I don't know, I make 60 grand now and I'll probably just live on that in retirement, then yeah, you're right. You do up to the match and then you contribute to the Roth from there. Yeah. What do you think about the merger afterwards? Does the stock go up? Typically stocks do not go up. The acquirer, typically the stocks do not go up after that in the short term. Anything beyond that, I don't have any data off the top of my head. What I do have is to get ready for our class here tonight, so I'm going to do that. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you later. If you're one of our clients, join us for the old Wine and Wealth. See you there. Enjoy.